Before I begin the brief remarks that I have to say on this, our last day of the 169th General Court of our state of New Hampshire, allow me to interject an acknowledgement of those whose love and support has allowed me to be here in this building. Beginning, of course, naturally with the woman who gave me life, my mother, Rebecca Ann Wheeler, whose example I walk in every day, my father, Ibrahim Maman, whose wisdom I live with every day, my grandmother, Nicole Mishral, who is always with me no matter how far she may be, and the family and friends who, when you have a hard day here, you come home, you think to yourself, nobody is going to ever understand this. The smile on the face of a baby cousin named Hilda, or the energy of a friend singing music with you, that every single one of us here comes here with the love and support of hundreds who have allowed us to live our life in the way that has brought us here to this building. Every single one of us here comes with the weight of thousands who elected us as their legislator to represent them up here in this, the austere building of this state. And austere it is. The other day I was walking through and there was the group of kids from Claremont, and they were here visiting the State House for the first time in fourth grade. And as some of us from Claremont know, they weren't exactly going to be able to make that tour. Some craziness in their school district left them without the resources to be able to bring their fourth grade kids here to the State House. But in a bipartisan way, the members of the Claremont delegation came together to make sure that those kids could come, because everybody visiting their State House is an incredibly important part to how they connect to this building. And one of those kids, he went, Representative Wheeler, is this a church? And it made me laugh. I said, no, this isn't a church, my friend, but I understand the place where that question comes from. It is a sacred building. And anybody who walks into this building who feels the weight on your shoulders from those hundreds of people who gave you love and support to allow you to live your life to get to this place, the thousands who elected you to serve here, knows this is a sacred building. And the weight on those shoulders is felt by even a fourth grader who for the first time is walking into this 207-year-old chamber and feeling that weight on their soul. Yes, my friend, this is a sacred building. And I think of that as I mentioned, they asked another question about the aisles, and so I mentioned to them, well, on this side of the aisle, on that side of the aisle. And as I was saying it, I realized to myself, in the spirit of Marjorie Smith, who has been here for a long time, there used to not be aisles of this legislature. I see some people who have been here for a long time laughing at this. Right now, here we are, Section 3, the Democrats over here, the Republicans over here, one side of the aisle or the other. People on this side saying to themselves, I don't want to sit next to those crazy Republicans. The Republicans over here saying to themselves, how could I ever sit next to a crazy liberal like that? But, my friends, honestly, that is the mindset of a child. It is not the mindset of a legislator. It is the mindset of a punitive, vindictive, petty child. And we are better than that. This legislature has been for 250 years and can be better than that. We don't need these petty, vindictive politics that keep us in the silos, which keep us from standing in the example of, as the members from the Judiciary Committee so eloquently illustrated, those who have served here before in a nonpartisan way. Legislators who came to make the best law for the state in which they live. Members, we are losing this legislature in a lot of different ways, and I hope you go to the elders in both parties on all sides of this chamber who have served here long enough to know that that is the case. There is wisdom to be gained from those people who have stayed here for a long time, and in that wisdom, we can find that our common and shared humanity, we're going to disagree all the time, but our common and shared humanity is much larger than those disagreements. We can, as Representative Lynn so eloquently said, disagree without being disagreeable. And with those petty, vindictive, childish attitudes that we have today, I hope, given the fact, Mr. Speaker, that your time here in this body ends, your 6 years as chair of this body, one of the longer terms consecutive as Speaker of this House, we will have a new Speaker next year. And I hope that when we have a new Speaker, whether you folks get the majority or we do, that Speaker looks at a body of children and refuses to accede to their childish mindsets. I hope we have a Speaker that raises the standards of the body once again, whether it is the member from Newmarket, the member from Auburn, the deputy speaker, the member from Wilton, it doesn't matter. Any one of you who is elected to that podium is elected not as a Republican or a Democratic member, but as Speaker of the New Hampshire House of Representatives. You will work with the clerk of this body to make sure that each committee functions. And we can either have a legislature wherein the committee chairs and the members on those committees feel as though they must vote the way of the people in the front row of this chamber. Otherwise, they'll lose their seat. Or we can have a legislature that actually legislates, where the chair protects their members in that committee to make sure the best product that can come out of every one of the standing policy committees comes out of that committee. In the example of environment and agriculture, this is by no means a partisan thing. You can have your partisan beliefs and put them at the door, coming together as a committee to serve the people of this state of New Hampshire. We can have leadership that doesn't accede to the mindset of children and restores this body to the austere institution that it has been since the 5th Provincial Congress at Exeter passed the first Constitution 6 months before the squabbles in Philadelphia did. Their Constitution that we've lived under in one form or the other, the fundamentals of our public government, for 250 years. And so I had to, when I actually won't say the name of the representative, but someone who has served here a long time, who is leaving, told me that they leave with an immense amount of pain. And they're going through, as a result of the last few months, a lot personally, which puts their body in a ton of physical pain. But it wasn't the physical pain from the ailments they have today that put their heart at a heavy place. It was the fact that they leave this legislature in the state that it's in, with people acting as petty and petulant as they are. That is what gave her the most pain in leaving this legislature. And in her name, for those who have spent their time here serving as a public servant in the public institution, I hope that we all come back to this body, if we are so lucky to, with the mindset of those for 200 and some odd years before us, the children, came into this body, returning that mindset to where they once were. This membership can work. The New Hampshire House of Representatives can function, but it takes all of us with that mindset to be able to do so. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.